Hi everyone, I'm Nicolette and I'm part of the customer success team at Performance Livestock Analytics. Today we're going to be going over the inventory tab. So if you do have any questions or comments, stuff like that, feel free to comment below, and then also you can tag us on Twitter. So to get started, let's go to the inventory tab. And then, so what we're going to do here is we're basically going to add in a new feed ingredient. So right now, in this account, we do have quite a lot of ingredients already entered. But so for right now, let's go to that Add Feed button in the upper right-hand corner. And so this is what you're going to see when you first start your account. There will be the category, and that'll always pretty much stay as feed. And then the name, so for right now I'm going to enter in an ingredient name. Cost per unit, so that's really up to you guys as well. I'm going to enter in $30 per ton. And then, so the unit here, we've gotten a lot of questions about this actually. So right now, this unit is always going to stay per ton. But when you're actually, going through loading and delivering with the scale app, you would actually, just use pounds like you would normally do. So we'll keep that as tons, and then percent dry, I'll enter that in. And so towards the bottom, if you see, there's this amount remaining and the inventory alert. So those are really, they're kind of optional at this point, but what I really do like about this system is that by using those two sections, that amount remaining and the inventory alert, you can actually track your inventory. And not many people know that you can kind of do this, but it's really nice once you actually use it. So right now, I'm going to actually just put in an amount right there. This amount can be really whatever you want it to be. So a lot of people, they'll either start right off the bat and kind of enter what they have remaining, what they know they have right now. Or you can kind of wait until you run out of a certain ingredient and then enter that back in once you guys get a delivery in. And I'll kind of show you that later as well. But so I have that amount remaining in there, that 200,000 pounds. And then for an inventory alert, so this will actually kind of give you an alert once so say if I put in 1,000 pounds here, once my inventory for haylage gets to 1,000 pounds, this system will actually shoot you an email saying, hey, you're at 1,000 pounds, go ahead, get a delivery in if you aren't, ready yet or whatever. So that's kind of how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. There we go. And then if you scroll down, that should show up right at the bottom there. And you'll have your cost per ton, your dry matter percentage, and then your amount remaining there. So some of these ingredients that you do see that, for the inventory, it's showing negative numbers. Those are the ingredients that will show up red when you don't have an amount remaining, basically. So it'll kind of end up keeping negative, and it'll just show you this is the total amount that you've fed while using the system to date. So let's go actually back into the ingredient. So if you click on the box that has the ingredient name in it, it'll kind of bring you back to that same page. It'll have all of those fields in it again. And if you want to edit anything, so say if the price changes or the dry matter percentage changes, you could just go in here, change that, and that will change from today moving forward. Same with the dry matter percentage, that will change, today, the day that you edit that moving forward. But there are some kind of cool little buttons here that will help you edit that inventory. So say if, you wanted to backdate some information, whether that is the cost per unit or the dry matter percentage, you can actually click this batch backdate button in green on that left side of the screen there. And that'll give you a pop-up window with more information in it. So it'll have a feed name, the start date and end date. And so this is really where you can choose that that time period that you want to change either the cost per ton or the dry matter for. So say if, last month or in June, the price was different, you can kind of go back there, choose the last day in June, click this checkbox here next to cost per ton. You can actually change it back to what it was. And same with the dry matter there. And then once you click confirm, it'll give you this summary page that really just confirms for you what you want to change, so what's updating, and then what you are not updating. And then I'm going to go ahead and click confirm again. Okay. And so down here at the bottom, you'll also see one line kind of going across here, and it'll have the date, the action, the amount. So that's your amount remaining that you would have entered when you first entered in the ingredient, and then the current total. And so these numbers are the same now because you have not, we haven't used that to feed anything off of, so it's not, subtracting any. So that's going to stay the same. And then you do have this shrink number here too. So if you look in, I kind of like to show other ingredients. So if I were to go into dry corn, see how if I scroll down, you'll see all of these actions are classified as use. So that's kind of how the inventory tab works. So every time this ingredient was used, it'll show the amount that was fed out, and then it'll kind of show the new current total. So it'll take this current total, that 14,000 number, and then subtract this amount that was used for today, and then it'll display that new current total. So that's kind of nice. And then you'll always know if you cancel out of here, that is what shows up in your current total for inventory. So that's kind of nice. And then so going back to haylage actually, so say if you didn't calculate this right, that 200,000 pounds, or if you go back and realize that you have less than you started with or more than you started with, you can always go to this green add/adjust button on the right side. So if you do that, another pop-up window will show up, and then so it kind of lets you pick between adding. So when you guys do get delivery in for a certain ingredient, you would always click that add button, and then say if you were getting a delivery for today, you would click today's date, or whichever date you want, and then you would type in the amount that you're receiving, and then you could click save, and that would basically just add on that 100,000 pounds to your remaining amount. So again, going back to that same add/adjust button, if you choose the adjust instead, um, so that will actually let you adjust the amount um, that that you have remaining, basically. So kind of like what I was saying earlier, where if you go back and you realize that you have less or more than you put in here in the system, you can go back here, choose that adjust button, and then adjust that amount. And so this will always adjust the current total on the screen. So right now, if you can kind of see it, it's a little dark, but it shows that 300,000 weight. So if we wanted to adjust that back down to 200,000, we could do that here. And then click save. I'm just gonna refresh my screen here, go back to inventory, back to haylage. Let's see, I'm gonna actually redo that for a different date just to show you guys. So an adjustment will always show up. So if you have like we do here, we have two entries for the same date. So the adjustment will always show up on the very first line for that particular date. So I'm going to actually adjust it for yesterday, just so you can see there should be another adjustment. And click save. There we go. So that'll actually kind of show you the difference there. I adjusted it for 200,000 pounds again, and then I adjusted it again. Since I adjusted it for the same amount, you see the shrink percentage is 0 since it is the same amount. So that's kind of how that works. And then let's see here. I'm gonna save that. And now we still have that 300,000 pounds in the inventory right there. And so this process is actually really important because without it, you cannot move on then to create rations. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in a couple weeks for our next webinar. Kind of just how the inventory kind of interacts with the rations tab, and then from there we're going to kind of build on what you can really do with performance beef. So if you do have any questions, feel free, again, comment below or tag us on Twitter or Facebook. And I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. Thanks.